At no time am I playing with y'all.
Now you're pretending it's all over.
Yeah. Boom, welcome to the Comedy Outliers podcast. It's your boy Mike Brown.
And it's Brandon Collins.
And we're here with another episode of Comedy Outliers, your favorite comedy podcast where we talk our shit. And before we started off, just opening. I'm not even shooting at you right now because I would shoot at you about what you shot at me about. But I want to give a shout out. I want to shout out Jamie Roberts, Comedy in Harlem. I went there last night, finally checked it out. Dope spot. It's been open for I think like 2 years. It's been open for a while. Also, shout out to Nikki Sunshine.
Shout out to his wife, Nikki Sunshine.
Yeah. Shout out to
that was awesome. When I saw they got married, I was like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's like I know, like we talked about it on this podcast, how how you brought up like, oh, I would like to have a spot, a place, and they're like coming up. There weren't that many places that we could get up. You know what I mean? That were like clubs that we kind of owned. And also I'm gonna shout out to I don't know him personally, but I see what he's doing out here. Ray DeJean from 275 Park, which is like a comedy venue out in Brooklyn. Okay. And I think he's if I misspeak, forgive me, but I think he's part of like Laughaholics or something like that. But he's always been someone who's an independent producer who's done I think he's done comedy cruise ships and big shows at other places. And it's like, as a producer, black producer, I just want to be like, yo, thank y'all for doing what you do. Keep doing it. It's beautiful to see. And I just wanted to get flowers out because it is very motivating to see that type of stuff. So I just want to start there.
That's good to hear, man. I need some more motivation in this comedy world, man. It's looking bleak out here for brothers. I mean,
especially when you're shooting at me about my shirt. Also want to shout out Sarah Hawthorne, who's on my shirt. You cannot see her if you're listening to this, but it's her. She has tassels on her breasts. Mm-hmm. And this is from, I think it's like a burlesque show or something that she did.
I hope so. This is from her birthday party.
Yeah, actually. That's what she gave me, the shirt at the birthday party.
Oh, word?
Yeah. Okay. So there's she gave me the shirt. I put it on I was like, oh, this is cool. So I started wearing it right there. I was like, I'm putting this on right. So I changed out of it. But I just keep it. And it's not a shirt that I wear outside because I don't want to bump into kids and have to explain titties.
I mean, you don't have to explain it. Trust me.
No, that's right.
To explain it.
Kids are introduced early. They just this is where the milk comes from. Well, there's other things that can happen with this. But anyway, that's where we're at. But yeah,
when did you have that talk with your parents? Like, who gave you that talk, and when did you have it?
Sex talk. I got the sex talk probably when I was like 13, 14.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right before my dad whooped my ass because.
Yo, I knew it was gonna be some shit because Mike turned to the side and his eyes aren't even fully open. He's just reminiscing. I just pulled some trauma from you, didn't I?
Oh yeah, that's
so you got told about the birds and the bees and they got your ass whooped.
Yeah, I got told of the birds and the bees and getting a beating. That's what happened. It's all good. It's all great.
How did that even happen? Like, hey, this is how people fuck. Also, I'm gonna fuck you up.
I think it's like
crazy.
It was so early when me living with my dad that we never really had talks of just serious talks.
Yeah.
So it was always like, okay, hey, you live here now, do the dishes, do your homework, go to school, just like quick stuff. So I didn't really bond with him. So there was a day, I think it was we saw Judge Dredd. The movie, we saw the Judge Dredd movie. This is how long ago it was.
The movie.
Right? And it's not a good movie. It's not like I'm saying it hey, we saw the classic. I think it was Judge Dredd. So don't
wait. Mike, I gotta get I need to color this for the audience. Because last week you talked about your mama took you to go see Casper. 3 minutes into the movie, she pulled you out, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, oh no, the ghosts are here, like the demons. No, not for my son.
Not for the family. For the family. It was me, my sister, my brother, the whole family. We left. 5 of us. We left.
But what's crazy, Mike, about what you're telling us is that in 1995, your mom refused to take you to Casper, but your dad in 1995 took you to see Judge Dredd. That's just such different parenting styles. That's crazy. So, folks, just give me a little bit more color as to why Mike is
Why-
how Mike is.
Why Mike is a comedian? that why? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't have my dad. Well, imagine having two totally different families and trying to be one person in the middle of that. Imagine that. One person is like, "Oh, this Casper too demonic." The other one, "Hey, y'all want to see Judge Dredd?"
That's so crazy.
Do you
Okay.
do you know the way? So anyway, we went to the movie and I was really excited, and I left.
Of course you were. You probably got to see a movie.
Yeah,
it was
like,
hard that.
Maybe we can stay for this whole thing. So I go and I ran out so quick that when I got dressed, I didn't wear a belt for my jeans. So my pants were sagging. But I was like, oh, it's cool. My pants are sagging because, Harlem, whatever. But I was like holding it up. So my dad was like, hey, your pants are low, pick your pants up, whatever. I'm like, okay. But it kept happening throughout the night. So he was like, hey, come here, whatever, so I could like fix your pants, like I had a belt, but he didn't know I didn't have a belt on. And so I just didn't want to tell him that because I was like embarrassed about not having it. And I was just like, hey, let's just move on from it. It's not that serious. And he thought that I was trying to pull a power move on him for some reason. Like I didn't want his help or I was too good for his help, because remember, this is early in me coming over there and being with him, right? So he got very upset and he was like, this is not going to happen in my house. And so, remind you, this is after the movie. So
he's like, I am the law.
Yeah, I am the law. I am the law. I am the law. So, and it's probably why I don't like movies to this day, which is why I think medium popcorn is anti-Semitic. I think that it's anti-black. I think it's anti-woman. I just don't hate on podcasts. Anyway,
that's just Justin stuff. That's not me. That's not me.
Oh, you go and blame it on another Brown. Me and Justin probably related. You know what? I also think you only like working with guys with the last name Brown because for some reason.
I mean, I'm still surprised y'all. I'm still surprised y'all haven't made like a podcast yourselves called The Browns.
No, we're about to. I'm about to call them up. Be like, hey, you want to do a podcast called Brown's Talking Brandon, where every week we just talk about all the shit he's done on a podcast in a week. And then sometimes we have you as a guest and we just roast you. It's like a real cool podcast. It's like, hey, what did he do to you today? What happened with you this week? What's your Brandon story?
I enriched your life. That's what I did today.
You know how I was so mad at you for like 24 hours. Oh my God.
What happened?
For this fucking podcast scheduled. I'm like, yo, when we gonna record the podcast? We already set up, got the new thing, new studio. Brandon, congratulations, got the new thing gig going on or whatever. And I'm like, all right, let's figure out another time to record. And he's like, well, I'm available Friday until 9 a.m. in the morning and Saturday till 10:30. What the fuck are these hours, nigga? No.
Nigga, I got things to do.
Nigga, I got things to do. Who's doing? Listen, I'm not working right now, but if I was, my job wouldn't expect me there before 9 o'clock. Like the work starts at 9. You try to get me here.
I gotta have this good audio quality. I'm not like you where I'm screaming into the computer microphone and hurting somebody's ears.
Okay, first of all, I'm not screaming into the computer microphone. I'm screaming into the blue microphone. So fuck you. Second of all, I cannot be at my peak performance at a single digit AM hour. So it's like, so the latest we can record is 8 o'clock on Friday morning? What kind of crazy ass shit is that?
I'm a hustler, baby.
No, you're not. Nigga, you're giving me the times hey, these are times I can do. Hi, I'm Brendan Collins. I have a manager now. The strike is over. I'm available from 7 to 7:15. If that doesn't work for you, I cannot do anything. I am so sorry. You have to talk to my colleague, Tata. Also, Tati, schedule some tea for me for 5 o'clock tomorrow. That's your vibe now. That's what you're bringing out. Also, and I'm going to see a movie. What are you going to do today, Brandon? Oh, just going to read some scripts in the park with my friends, and then I will talk to you later.
Jokes on you. I ain't got no friends.
That's your vibe. You wonder why? Because you out here telling people your friendship can be between the hours. Not even between the hours. Like, you got until 9 a.m., then I'm out. That's your vibe.
Listen, I gotta give you parameters because I know you're gonna be late anyway. So I'm like,
what are you talking about? Don't try to put this on me. Don't try to put this on me. I'm not even. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me turn this shit down because I gotta scream. This ain't even screaming. This is honest to goodness speech. Listen, you can't tell me.
Did you say honest to goodness speech?
Honest to goodness speech.
Why are you talking like a mammy from the South?
Oh, so now you don't like black women?
Don't. I love black women.
Oh, so you don't love the South?
I'm looking at black women right now. If I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at Zazie Beetz on my screen.
Are these black women clothed?
Yeah, of course. For the most part. Because on the other screen is Janelle Monáe and a wet
I know,
t-shirt,
exactly.
so.
Janelle Monáe got her album with the titties out. She don't care.
All right, but we gotta get back to you getting your ass whooped about learning about the birds and the bees.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let's bring it back to my trauma. So I didn't have my belt, so my dad got upset.
I still don't understand how
and...
niggas leaves the sex.
No. But this is the thing. So we got back home and he was about to whoop my ass, right? But then it was like a moment where we're like sitting across from each other, and he just like he had like a moment like, oh shit, I gotta like be a dad. So he was like, yeah, well, what you did was messed up and whatever. You might not know these things, but you can't do that. Da, 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 da. And he's like, yeah, also, let me tell you about the birds and the bees. I was like, what? Because I thought I was happy to hear the conversation. So I'm like, oh, maybe with this conversation, I'm not gonna get my ass whooped. This is great. Got the whole conversation, do this, where this, and then whooped my ass. And so that was it. So I've hated movies ever since. You're looking at me like it's supposed to make sense. It just happened, Brandon.
I know. I'm just.
I feel like the father in The Fresh Prince. It just happened. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. I was a kid. I ain't had no. Of course, it doesn't make sense now.
Yo, I was talking a long time ago because you mentioned Fresh Prince, but the homie Dan Dolcole, because both he and I like, he at least got to like meet his father at some point. I don't know if they're still in contact or whatever, but we talked about growing up without dads, and then he talked about how him and his siblings they found his dad, and now they were gonna fuck him.
Yeah, like did they fight him? Yeah,
I was just like, yo, how many dads out in these streets who weren't around for their kids are just like one like potentially bad decision away from getting the ass whooping, like an epic ass whooping from their kids.
It can happen. I mean, like, look, I joke about my dad in my comedy here and there. Me and my dad are real cool now. He's become he's like a father and a friend. But I tell you,
it would have been so funny. You say he became like a father figure to me.
Yeah, he became. Yeah, he's kind of like a dad. He's kind of like a father to me. He's kind of like a father figure, a role model. He's somebody I would let date my mom. I think that'd be cool. But no, I think that I look back at what he's done and like I'm happy he did it. But ooh, that road was bumpy. It was a very bumpy road. But shout out to him. But speaking of just relationships and giving the birds and the bees speech and being a man and all these things, let's get into some bullshit right now.
Yeah.
Jada and Will.
Bro, like
let's start right there.
I mean,
so wait. Before we start, say what's going on. Say what's going on. Just say what's going on before we just like set it up. What's going on with Jada?
So apparently she has a book coming out, and now she's doing interviews with the People magazine and what's her name? I think Hoda, one of the alcoholics from that morning show. I forgot what her name is. And she's coming out with some shit like Chris Rock asked her out when there was like rumors that her and Will were getting divorced. She's saying that her and Will have been living separate lives since 2016. And for me, I'm like, who does this help besides her? And even then, I don't think this is a good look for her. Like, and the interview she's doing, she's like smirking and like, yep. It's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know the relationship. Obviously, none of us do, but there's something it feels very sinister, this shit that happens, because like, you know what I mean? Because my man is like, between the entanglements and having be pulled onto red table talk, I mean, I would never put my worst enemy through that shit that Will Smith went through on that round table.
My thing is this.
She's saying all this shit about how she fucked their son's friend. And then she had the goal to be like, but you got me too, because the rumor is that he hooked up with Margot Robbie. But like, they ain't like, but that's like a grown woman. That's like,
like, well, it's a grown woman.
But we're also separated apparently at that time. So
Who cares? And it's also like, yo, it's Margot Robbie, and like you mess with a dude who made a song about it and had Rick Ross drop a verse. Like, it's not like Margot
Close.
Robbie, yeah, like it's not like she did like a movie about it or something. Like they just had sex with just a rumor. The thing is different when we knew about it. Like we
Yeah.
knew about it. Dude went to the radio station and was like, "Oh yeah, it's me."
Yeah,
What? And then, well, not even and then. I think so. So okay. With all that being said, but they supposedly had separated in 2016. She's on her book tour, on her press tour, right?
Yeah.
Was everybody right about the slap?
About how what it was actually about.
Yeah. Because it's like,
Well,
if they were separated for that time and he's still like protecting her, it's like, do you need to protect her to that level? Because a lot of it was like, you can't talk about his wife that way. And I was like, hey, they're still married, whatever, whatever. But it's just like the way that happened, keep my wife's name out, all of that. It's like, so now can we just say, hey, it's fucked up and you owe Chris a lot more than what you get. Like, you are fucked up for that. And I love Will Smith, bro. Like
but
I'm
what about if what she says is true about Chris hitting her up immediately after news came out about them possibly getting divorced, trying to ask her out? Because then that adds more. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't. No, at that point,
I'd be like, nigga, you trying to step in my grave? Like, I'll fuck you up.
Yeah, nigga, you slapped me. What are you talking about? You already put hands on me. Of course. You put hands on me, I'm gonna put hands on your wife. What up?
No, this is way before that, though. She said this
before?
years ago. She said this years ago.
Oh, well then. Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's extra context that she's revealing now where I'm like, oh, if I were Will, I hate both of these motherfuckers. And it's supposed to be the biggest night of my career. You know what I mean? It's the biggest night of my career. I'd be all kind of fucked up mentally.
It's like you go.
I'm not saying it's right at all. I'm not excusing this behavior at all. But now I can kind of see how everyone, except for Jada, went crazy that night. You know what I mean?
Jada went crazy first. Jada was the one who gave the look, like, you're just not going to do it. Like, that's her going crazy because she could have just laughed it off like Will did. They both could have laughed it off and let it go.
I think Jada Pinkett, and I get it, because Jada Pinkett, especially like, I mean, she's still beautiful, but in the 90s, she was bad as fuck. I think Jada
She's still bad. She's still beautiful, bad, but the personality is killing her right now.
Yeah, I think Chris Rock always looked at Jada Pinkett as like this, like, you know, the one, like the one chick you always wish you could like be with. You know, everybody has that one person that it just never worked out, but they're always like, damn, that would have been, I wonder what that would have been like. Because he's always been into her since the 90s.
Who, Chris?
He's talked about that. Like, that's like a known thing that he's always been interested in Jada since the 90s. So with that context, and then him going up there, presenting that award, having that quick swipe, and then you're Will, and you're kind of laughing because you do think it's funny, but then, or like, you're just like playing the game, right? Where I'm like, ha ha ha.
No, wait. Another thing, he could also be like, it doesn't matter because that's my girl. Like, it's like, yo, I won. I know that you won her. I know you hit her up and you still shooting at me. And this ain't the first time you did it. I won.
Yeah, it's like Ye with Ray J. It's like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
You're making this whack ass song.
Yeah, you hit it first grade. I'm hitting it currently. Have fun, buddy.
I mean, not no more. You heard about him calling Charlamagne about Pete?
Yeah.
That was one of the saddest things I've ever heard. Charlamagne's like, you know, he called me. He's like talking shit about Pete. He's like, you know, I'm friends with Pete. Yeah, you can't, like, I can't be a part of this. He's like, my wife is getting dicked down by a white boy with a huge penis, and you won't help me? You supposed to be for culture? I was like, yo.
Like, how do who you fuck is related to being for the culture? Why am I in it?
Like, people are not well. People are not well, bro.
No, everybody got their thing. This is why I feel so thankful and just blessed that I early was just like, hey, some stuff isn't right. Things so now when everybody's going like left and I'm like, makes sense. I see it. I see it. Yep. Yeah, welcome to the party. Welcome.
But bro, like it's very concerning because for me, I'm like, again, I don't know who this helps. It doesn't help Jada. I think this is making things really weird for this is because this now gives credence to the people that are like, that slap was about Jada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? It always was. But then it's like, yo, it feels like she's constantly throwing Will under the bus. Now, he might be a terrible husband, might be a terrible partner. I don't know. We don't have that context. But everything she does makes it feel like all she's doing is trying to bury this nigga. She's trying to break this nigga down.
It's really bad, bro. It's
like if I had a partner like that in my life, if I had a friend like that in my life, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, I've been quiet except for that one video I released about the slap. I haven't done any interviews about it. You going on all this shit, talking about everything. How essentially our marriage, our image the past 6 years has been a lie.
Well, you know what? And this is me speaking. I mean, I hope they don't come back to bite me because I'm not like, I don't copy for anybody, but like, let me just walk with me, everybody. Walk with me. Brandon, walk with me on this, right? Jada Pinkett as an actress, right? She's done, like, I think it was like probably like Set It Off and some other movies like she's done back in the day, right? And then you have The Matrix, and you have a few other things, right? She's also a mother. She's raising the kids. But there wasn't, I don't think, anything for her as a actress or actor that she was able to kind of do and have a career for herself like that. When you're married to one of the highest paid, probably the highest paid at one time.
Stars of the planet.
Exactly.
In
global.
general,
We're talking global. We're talking global, right?
Because box office wise, I think he's the biggest black actor by far. I don't think there's anyone.
No one's touching him. No one's touching.
Denzel is like way behind because Denzel has had like movies that made almost $1 billion.
Yeah, but and that's the thing, like Denzel. But also we're looking at when you bring all these other people like a Denzel or whatever. You're like, oh, I think Will's a really great actor. He's a really good actor. But like then when you have like your Denzels and like your Daniel Kaluuya and all these other people, like okay, well talent wise, yeah, you know you got talent, you're doing it. There's some other killers, but you out here killing the game worldwide. They got Men in Black in all the languages. You know what I mean? Like you're Will Smith, and not only that, you won the first rap Grammy. So you are one of the people who transcended the hip hop culture into Hollywood. Then you had a run on social media. Like, so he's just been dominant. And he's been able to, I know for me, I can speak for myself, kind of be a shining light to be like, hey, here's an example of a black man who is in a new place. It's like the fish out of water kind of story with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air show, like looking at that and being like, hey, he has his cousin Carlton who might be this, but it's like, hey, that's family and that's how you work, and seeing him get women and all these things, it's like, oh, it's. I mean,
going to the going to the 90s, man, you talked about Judge Dredd and shit. Like,
yeah.
I remember as a kid, like when I saw Independence Day, like obviously I had seen, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but when I saw Independence Day, that was the first time where I was like, I'm looking at a movie star. Like I'm looking at a movie star that's being universally loved by everyone around me. I literally saw an audience fall in love with this man. And like, it's like, I'm not trying to get too sappy or anything, but like as a young black kid that didn't have many like black male role models to see in film, especially big budget movies like an Independence Day, that was a big fucking deal. Like that's why, like when I saw John Boyega in Star Wars Episode 7, that trailer when he gets a lightsaber, I was like, I almost started crying. I was like, I always wanted some shit like that. Because we didn't get Samuel Jackson the lightsaber until like the mid 2000s. You know what I mean? I'm like, he meant so much, and he still means a lot. I think it's just we saw a weird dysfunctional relationship, the fallout of that on one of the biggest stages in the industry.
Yeah, but
and it's just so odd because it involved two of my biggest heroes.
Well, the thing that I feel
weird,
it's like with all the accolades we're giving Will Smith, while this is happening, Jada is an actor, and she's nowhere near that level. And it's not something that's a shot on her because there are other working actors who are nowhere near Will Smith in like box office draw. So it's not against her, but I'm just saying, imagine that as a relationship. You are on top and she is not on top at all, but she's still in the same thing. And then on top of that, you have this open relationship. And if you're Will Smith, who gets all this money, all this global star, that open relationship is looking pretty sweet on that side. Rumors and everything aside about whatever, it's like you got access. Yeah, it's like he got access to Margot Robbie, right? Whereas if you're Jada Pinkett, you might have access to some dudes, but like if the person you're gonna be with is your son's best friend, it's like I don't know how much access you have or how much you can move around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of that, and then now she's at the point where she finally has something else to promote. It's not Red Table Talk, because Red Table Talk is like the media thing.
It's done, and it's done.
I'm saying it's done, but while it was going on, it's like maybe she's not going on NBC to tell people to watch a show that's on Facebook. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's very rare to see like somebody from one conglomerate go to another conglomerate's thing. Like if ABC has Abbott Elementary, you might not see Quinta going to Fox, like like that type of thing, right? So I think that right now she's gonna milk this for all she can get. I don't know what her book like, and obviously the book is her story, what's going on, but it's like obviously we don't know, and it's like with Will, he just put his out earlier. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we don't know everything. Like I said, like for all we know, Will could be a terrible partner. He could have somehow made her feel like she's trapped and she needs to get as much money as she can. Pulling a Carmella, like I gotta get my bad because I don't know what the fuck you doing or what's gonna happen with you.
Yeah.
But especially after he, after the slap, like how many things did he lose immediately?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for me, it's so messy, and I just, there's very few, unfortunately, like high profile Black couples that we see.
Yeah.
And, it's just unfortunate that like, obviously like a lot of what we saw in the public image was fake or a lie and just for image purposes. I'm curious as to why they felt the need that they had to stick together, like stick through all that. Cause Jada's like, essentially we're never going to get divorced, but we are separate people. We live separate lives and stuff. It's just really messy. It's unfortunate. I feel bad in a way, like, Chris has a hand in this too, but I do feel bad that he constantly is being pulled into this. He's like over here just doing his own thing, performing whatever the fuck, and he's just constantly being dragged back into this thing.
I mean, well, it's disgusting. I mean, like I it's whatever. I hope they all
same with the
all
kid.
right.
Same with Jaden and his friend. I mean, think about Jaden. Like, no one says that. Like, I mean, I know that kid's fucking cuckoo bananas, but that can't be easy. Fucking knowing that your mom's got smashed up by one of your former friends. I imagine. I don't think they're probably still cool.
What about Willow, who's like the daughter, who's like, I'm not attached to any of this. She ain't fuck one of my friends. All this is happening, and mom, I'm the other daughter. Like, are they gonna start being like, well, Willow's like this or whatever? Like, I think she's been pretty cool to like not be involved in any of that stuff. And it's good to have like a nice, a clean break, respectably. Like, it's a good clean break. Speaking of which, want to shout out Roy Wood Jr. for his clean break.
This is some great transitions today, Mike. I'm impressed. I'm loving it.
I'm the king of this, man. Come on, we stepping up.
Very good.
Roy Wood Jr. has officially left The Daily Show. He put out a statement saying basically that when Daily Show comes back, he will no longer be a part of it. It didn't seem, the way it was worded, it didn't seem like there was any hate for Comedy Central. No. I think that what I feel too is that like you might have hit a ceiling there of what you can do and what can be done, and it's time to go. Now, with all that said, I want to just talk about the Daily Show situation in a way that's respectable to the show and respectable to Roy and all the shit. I think everybody agreed that Roy should have been. Yes. They should have been put Roy in, and it's a travesty that they didn't do it. But I also wonder now is like how many people are really watching the show, right? Does the show still have the cachet that it once had?
Well, it's like that's what's interesting.
Yeah, and it's just, well, go ahead.
What else was interesting about if you listen to Roy Wood Jr. on podcasts, I would say over the past few months, not including in the meeting podcast, we had him on in January, and this is how I know that he probably won't do it unless he gets full autonomy, which is he's been saying for at least over a year, I'm down to do the job. But obviously, it's got to come with money, and I got to be able to do my thing. Because in the past few podcasts I've heard him on, which he's a fantastic fucking podcast guest. He's great.
He's great.
And he's one of the nicest people in comedy. Like that's one of the things that throws me off whenever I meet a comedian that's like not nearly that at that level who is an asshole. Because I'm like, why, bro? Like, but anyways, but he talks about how late night's different now. Late night's going to be different. You can't go back to the same formula. It's like, what does it look like now? What is there? What can you do that's different? It's like, I don't think following the same Daily Show formula works anymore. So like, what is the next thing? And so it's like the questions you and I ask about comedy, like live production, stuff like that. Like, what's the next thing? And so I think if they're not willing to shake things up the way he probably wants them to, they're probably never going to give it to him. But I do find it curious the timing of this, where you had the Hassan story come out, and then a week or two later, the Roy Wood, like, I'm leaving, coming out. Because remember, Hassan randomly was like, he's the number one. The Variety had that fucking
yes, he's the number one pick. People think he's going to be the successor, and it's like, what? It's like, where did this come from?
Bro, it had to be very I hope it was very like not rewarding, but like, what's the word I'm trying, not fulfilling, but like where people like clearly fuck with you and enjoy you as a performer, as a comedian. Very humbling, I guess, like for Roy to see on social media when he made that announcement, all the quote tweets from comedians, from personalities, from people in the industry, like, why the fuck is he not the guy?
I think
I thought that was great. Like,
humbling. I think the word you might have been looking for is like reassuring, because I think stepping away from such a big position, which is like a coveted position to be one of the correspondents there, it's like, why would you leave that? This is something like, this is the job that got you to do the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is the job that puts you in front of millions of people on a nightly basis. This is that.
But you can't stay there forever. You know what I mean? Like, it's why SNL people leave.
But it's the other thing. It's like, in all of the institutions, which are, I think, very important and necessary, there isn't some type of growth from it. And because we as comedians have lost what used to be the platforms where you'd have your Comic View, you'd have your Def Comedy Jams and these things where people can see you and be like, oh, who's that? I want to go see them on shows. Now it's like, it's all YouTube and all the social media stuff, which is great because it puts the power in your hands. But the other side of it is like, that doesn't mean the industry machine isn't working. That doesn't mean that you're not pouring money into making sure that your special is sponsored and is like played as ads. That doesn't mean that like you don't have someone who's working at one of these publications who was just going to put your special on the list of best specials and they haven't seen all the other specials. They're just like, oh, I know this manager, or, oh, this person's part of this. It's all these, there's these things that aren't really quantifiable and not really independent enough. Everything is to take from another blogger who I love watching. I'm gonna shout out to him, Adept HNIC. But he has this thing called compromised media. And there's sometimes it's like, you have these compromised people working at these places. And it's, I understand it, like, yo, the game is the game. But for Roy, he's definitely going to be all right. But it's also like, what you can't, if you're not going to give me the hosting job.
Yep. What do I do?
There's nothing else left to do as a talent. Maybe if they were like, hey, we're gonna make you a producer, EP, whatever, cool. But like, if I'm not hosting this thing, and beyond that, honestly, coming from someone who worked as a correspondent on a satirical news show, you don't know the mental anguish that comes with having to make the news funny. If Roy Wood was back at Daily Show right now, he would be tasked
going into an election year.
In an election year, and before we even get to the elections, you now have to tiptoe around Israeli-Palestine conflicts. Now you got to talk about that and make that, and it's like, do I care about it, but like, you're in that for 5 days out the week, and
that's a lot. Like, you need the most talented writers to make that work. And even then, I still remember Stephen Colbert on election night for 2016. And he had the guys from the Game Change book on, Mark Halpern and some other nigga, the guy from the circus show. And basically in real time, I think they found out that Trump won. It might have been Ohio and Florida. It was like big states. Like, they found out in real time, right? And Stephen Colbert is like, because one of the guys is like, Trump is at the doorstep of being president now. and everyone in the crowd is clearly freaking out because it's fucking New York City. Everyone's like, how the fuck did this happen? Stephen Colbert's like, I don't know how to make that funny, and that's my job.
Yeah.
That was one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. Like, you just saw him like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, man.
Because it's like, that's his job. He's also like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to fuck up. And
But then you had comedians in the West Coast doing live podcasts just cackling at people like being terrified at the prospect of a President Trump.
Yeah. It's,
you know,
it's crazy.
That's why I knew things were going to be fucking crazy for at least a few years, if not longer. I mean, they're still wild.
Yeah, they're still wild, but that's the other part of it. It's like, that's going to happen no matter what. So just from, and I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but like our first connections with Roy was him closing out a comedy Outliers show way back in the day. It might have been like our second or third anniversary, maybe our second.
It wasn't second.
Fiddler.
It wasn't even Fiddler. Was it?
Yeah, it was Fiddler. It was downstairs at Mean Fiddler. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was so it wasn't second. It had to be like third because I think we did 2 at Lily's.
Maybe, man. I mean, it's been a long time since we know Roy. And
it's been a long time, and he's always been good people.
Always been good.
That's what I'm saying.
He introduced me to Ronnie. Like, that's how he was like,
word.
Hey, he was like, yeah, because I remember he did our show. Then he texted me.
Oh,
hey,
yeah, that's how we,
Ronnie,
that's right, Ronnie. Yeah.
He's getting into comedy and stuff. Like, and then like both of them, and we're not gonna speak out of turn, but we both were hanging out with they both did a show of ours, and we were hanging out with them. And I mentioned how I was trying to book one of their peers at the show, and they both made a look at each other, like, "Oh yeah, that's that person." Like they're just like, You know, yep. I'm not. Again, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Look at me. Look at me drop. I'm gonna drop this right around us. Shout out to Ronnie because he's killing stuff too, and it's so like
dope. Yeah,
his career, what he's been able to do, he's been able to usurp the whole Daily Show stuff because it's like. You know,
he's still on there technically.
I think he's still on there, but it's like when you do like Crazy Rich Asians, when you get into like the Marvel movies, when you start just like having your own, it's just like, oh, I'm getting this acting, like I'm still doing this, and he'll still tour and do that, and I think that's great. And for Roy, I mean, he's doing it, and he's going to do a lot. You know, I can't wait to see him go back on the. Well, he's on the road right now. He's on the road. He's going to do it. So I'm just like, massive love. And respect and good luck, especially because
and what I also love about Roy is he takes breaks for himself.
Yeah,
like, there's been times when I've hit him up about shows, and he's like, "Bro, I would love to do it, but like I'm taking a break for a second. Like I'm not performing for like a few days." I'm like, "Yeah, I respect it." Like he knows when like I need a mental health break.
Yeah, sure. and I think that's important. Like he's on his job, and I think he might be the best working stand-up comedian right now. And that's great because he might not be able to act in a lot of things, seeing as the SAG negotiations have broken down and we are still on strike.
Mike, it's just beautiful, man. This is beautiful because I'm usually the one that has to do the segues. So I love this. This is man, that was smooth as butter. That was smooth as fuck, bro. I mean, you could still be. That means you're gonna be out of work for a long time, but
you're damn right.
Yo,
it's kind of funny because it's like how you quit. Him being a correspondent is SAG. So it's like, yo, I can't work anyway. So it's kind of like this dope, like, hey, I'm out, but it's like, I can't work anyway. Peace.
But does that count though? Because like SNL and like the daily and the late night shows are getting they all got exceptions though.
We'll see.
SNL comes back this Saturday.
I'm very curious to see how it works. I'm very curious to see that just because it's a live show. Because it's a live show, so I'm curious to see that. And I don't know if they have what is it, the IATSC, where that is like the theater. There's like the theater guild is wrapped up in it too. Because like if you do theater stuff, it's not screen, but it's still like related because it's acting. So like the thing that you're doing on stage is being recorded and shown on screen. So there's probably like some kind of loophole for that. And I think the same for Daily Show. But we still on strike. We started striking later than SAG anyway. I think it was probably like
than WGA. You mean?
Than WGA. So I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but what happened? How did it break down? What's going on?
Apparently, the biggest breakdowns were around AI still, and I guess Actors Guild wanting 2% over streaming revenues, and I guess some of them were like, "That's absurd." I think Here's the biggest issue, and this is where I get really frustrated. This is how you know it's just about the niggas that have the power, which are typically white guys.
Yeah.
Is that the game is so fucked up. The game is so fucked up, Mike. And we saw this in 2008. Like our generation saw this in 2008 when all those bankers fucked everything up and the American people had to bail these motherfuckers out. That's essentially what's happening with these guilds, is that they have to compromise and try to work deals with the studio people, the executives who made the decisions that got their studios into these bad financial positions, particularly with streaming. Because streaming started off so fucking cheap and so accessible with all this content. That's why all these things are starting to jack up their prices. Things are people are going to start cord cutting streamers. Then the whole thing's going to be fucked up again, because it's all going to come to all these streamers have ads. It's going to feel like cable, but just broken up. So then that's going to frustrate the viewer. That's why niggas are going to TikTok. It's a lot easier. You got TikTok or YouTube. Yeah. Everything's in one place.
And the way people are consuming content now has changed. So it's like, well, am I going to now put an hour or 45 minutes of my life to watch this written show that might not pay off, the story that might not fucking pay off anyway, when I can just watch 3 minutes of some whatever on TikTok and watch so many just random, just different things? What happened?
You know what blew its load too quickly?
What?
Quibi. Quibi could probably kill it right now.
Yeah. If they would have kept alive, but then they also got caught up in like, hey, we're just trying to give out deals, and they were trying to be. They were focused on competing with Netflix, in my opinion, competing with all the streamers versus like, let me just grow as a service. Like, let me be real low. And it's hard to do that when it's like, I think one of the people from Quibi was like from Comedy Central. You had all these like kind of industry titans coming in like, we're here now. It's like, y'all could have been like, hey, we're just going to work on this little thing. We'll see how it is. Yeah. Like when Netflix first came out, they're like, hey, we mail in DVDs. We don't want no problems. Whoa. Put it in your queue. You send it to us. We send it back. We don't want a problem. And it's like, hey, we got this little show with Kevin Spacey, and we got a show about some prison girls. You know, if you like it, maybe. And now they're just like, give us an IP, give it. And it's like, not all of these shows are great. Also, it's just like, it's so many shows. Like with and
there's so much content, bro.
There's so much. Like when I look at like HBO doesn't do that. Because it's like they might not have the money to do it, and they might not be like, oh, we can't do it. And this is before the HBO Max merger, right? Yeah. Where it's like, if you saw there was a show on HBO, you might be like, yo, that show ain't for me, but I bet that show was hot. Like I bet that show was good. Even if it's not for me, I know that show's fire. Max it's fire.
I think out of all the streamers right now, I keep saying this, Max is the best streamer. Because Max has not
Apple
only
TV's
good
on its heels though. Apple TV
is solid, but
on its heels. It's on Max's heels. It's the only other one. It's the only other one coming up.
I would say Apple TV is good for like big stars that do TV. I mean, HBO Max is really good for that too. But like Apple spends a lot of money on their shit.
Yeah,
Max is like a little bit more, I think, like fiscally responsible. And
it's
stuff.
still TV.
But their original content, they have amazing hidden gems. Like Justin got me into Warrior. That's one of the best action shows I've ever seen. Like the fight choreography, it's better than some movies that you see.
Really? Is that like a kung fu joint?
Kinda. It's like a Western. I say it's like a kung fu Western version of Game of Thrones. It's like really dope. A lot of politics. The fight choreography. It's like watching the Raid every episode. It's so fucking like for me. I'm like the whole cast. Just put them in Mortal Kombat. It's easy. Like they're so good. And Max also now has the Discovery shit, which for me and Tati, like we were really into like Discovery, like learning, not the Learning Channel, but the shit that has the 90 Day Fiance and stuff. All that's now on Max.
Oh yeah, all of your reality show hits. Yeah, all of your like garbage reality. It's there.
Great Food Truck Race. All
Love Island. Which I've watched. That's why I brought it up. It's crazy.
Did we talk about MILF Manor on this? We talked about it for a second.
I think we've talked about it a bunch. I think we've talked about it on the show, but like,
shit is fucked up. They should get Jada Pinkett Smith to host that.
I mean, look, she needs a job. What? Is that wrong?
I mean, no, it's true. The strike, the actors on the strike. You're right. That's also a problem too. These actors have too much fucking time on their hands now.
What are actors gonna like? What are me and my people?
Yeah.
What are we? It's like when you've dedicated so much of your life to the passion, the craft, the art, the career, and it just goes. It's like, well, what do I do from here? You got to learn how to pivot, but it's still like a crazy situation. Like, I don't know, like, and I've already told you like how I felt about like TV. Like there's some stuff I'm not watching, some things I am watching. And I'm just like trying to just like I'm not trying to watch as much TV as before, but
Which
I
is
hope
interesting because you're a writer, so it's like I don't know. Like I like to
I
consume a lot of content, so it helps get the juices flowing.
see. I feel sad. So I was talking about this with John Minas the other day. Like he was saying like how there's a lot of shows that he watches and he's like it for him to just be like, hey, it keeps the juices flowing and he's just able to think of more things. And I'm like, hey, just write more. I mean, like still watch TV, but like go outside, do things. Like you need to, depending on your process and depending on what you do, like you need to kind of just like be out and feel energy. And you'll be
Give me 1 second. There's a really random old guy outside my door. I gotta talk to this guy. I'll be right back.
Oh shit. Okay. Pause. All right, I got it. All right, so I got this by myself. Welcome to the Mike Brown Show. I don't know where I'm gonna go from here, but we're gonna make it all right. I've been doing transitions. I've been holding this shit down this whole time. So let me continue. So for TV, this is what I feel. I read this thing. Well, not that I feel I read. So TV and streaming is in this really, really, really weird place right now. And this is before the SAG and the WGA agreements and all that. Because I think everyone is just creating as much content as possible because that helps them get more money. Makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. I'm with it. But the content doesn't seem to always be at the top tier for me. It's like the content is never like just the greatest content in the world. And so when you just have so much content that's not great, for me, it's like, why would I digest this content to watch it? Same thing with music. It's like there's some musicians that I love, but you can see that the songs are now like 1 minute and 53 seconds. It's like it's so short. It'll be like a hook, a verse, a hook, a little of the music, and then it's done. And it's like I can't even. It's just so easily consumable and just like microwavable that I'm like, you know what? I would rather listen to musicians and music that I love that is great instead of like waiting for something new to just come around. I still listen and still look for new music all the time, but it's so few and far between when everybody's saying the same thing. There's also these things with like AI songs, AI written songs that people are singing, and it's just like, oh, there's no like soul in some of this. So it's like, and it's like, oh, it just doesn't hit for me. And I think what's really important about well, I'll say it's kind of close up the loop on the SAG stuff. You need these actors because these people have trained in this craft, and when they do act, they're giving a piece of their time and a soul to the project. And everybody wants to get back to work. It's the same thing with the WGA. It's like writers love to write. We love to tell stories. Sometimes we make them up. Sometimes they're inspired by whatever. But it's like there's a piece of us in these things, and it helps give our life some purpose and makes us feel good about ourselves, And I think what is important about that is not only the individual artists doing their thing, but being in a collective and sharing information and sharing art. Which is actually, Brandon, you had something like that recently, right? You were in a park with some people.
Yeah. So I did this mock writers room over the summer. To like we like adapted After Hours, which is a Scorsese film from the '80s, and like essentially made like a mini series with it. I wrote 3 episodes of it. So my pitch is what got chosen for the overall story of the series, and then I wrote the pilot episode. I wrote episode 3. And we had one of the writers had some actor friends, and we I guess we initially booked a cafe, but then it wasn't going to be open up long enough for us to be able to read all the scripts. So we ended up going to Tompkins Square Park.
Fucking writers, man.
It was very it humbled me a lot because I mean it's not like I got paid or I was expecting anything from it, but it was just like, oh, this is going back to like really like shoestring budget, like
it never leaves,
artist and shit.
Yeah,
and for me it's like you know what it is? It's like I'm doing another reset, and I've done several resets in my career where I've like had to like pivot and like make adjustments and like kind of not start over, but like I have to get used to a different like way of my schedule working and stuff like that, right? And just like what I allocate my time towards. And so I think last night was just very indicative of like once I with the other writers and seeing these actors read our scripts and stuff, which was one like I just hate it's the way I hate hearing myself and watching myself on screen. I also hate the words that I write. I'm just like, oh, I suck. Every scene I'm like, I suck. But at the same time, I was like, but I still enjoy what I do. I still enjoy writing very much. I still enjoy telling these stories. I think just it's this world around me. I think it's what's happening in the general world that like it's makes me exhausted this time. Before I was like, all right, gotta do another pivot. Let's do it. And I think now I'm just like broke. I'm like, I had never felt this exhausted or broken down because of just next year, man. None of this could be work. Like this could be all for nothing because I feel like I genuinely feel like, and we've talked about this before. If certain things go a certain way with politics and stuff, I think it's over. I think it's game over. And I'm not being facetious or exaggerative when I say that. I genuinely think that shit's going to pop off next December.
Next
or November. Yeah, next November. That's when Election Day is, right?
Oh, next year. I'm of the kind of mind too where it's funny. I've lived such a life where most of it was being either depressed or just like not wanting to be here and just trying to figure out things to make me stay and like what are you gonna do? And then the world just looks like so much shit. It's like, man, why couldn't this have happened when I was like a teenager? When I was ready to go. Like why couldn't like it feel like apocalyptic then? When like I was really ready for it. But
because now you feel like you have something that you want to live for, like you want to fight for.
Yeah, I still want to fight, but it's also like there's like this joy in that where it's like, well, you know what? If that's how it's going, like I've never understood why the band played while the Titanic was going down. I never understood it, and then now I kind of understand. It's like, so what? Am I just gonna run for my life and just die in the water? Or am I just gonna play my motherfucking music? I'm gonna be out anyway. And this is just at least I'm out on these terms that I can at least control.
Did I ever tell you why I started doing therapy?
No.
I was having a series. It was about 3 and a
Wait,
half.
do you want to share this on the podcast?
I'll share it because it's not like anything like huge. It's just about I would say 4 years ago, I started having debilitating anxiety attacks. And I didn't realize so my anxiety, it manifests in cold sweats, heart palpitations, and short breaths. And I never knew that. Like I would have it, if it happened to me in like, especially in high school, and I would just think like, maybe I'm a little sick for a second or something, you know what I mean? Like I'm nauseous or whatever. And then I started having them where I had to, I'm like, especially during my day job, I was like running schools and shit. I had to be around a lot of people. And I had to I found myself having to like remove myself and like try to get a grip and shit. And I was like, this is beyond me being able to just control this like in any physical way. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah. And I started seeing a therapist, and my therapist was like, yeah, that's anxiety, bro. That's anxiety. Especially when I thought about like death. There was like a period where I was terrified that I was going to die at any moment. And that's why like Hamilton, when Hamilton came out, like it resonated with me greatly because it's like, why are you writing like you're running out of time? I was like, that's how I feel all the time. I feel like I have to do everything. Like that's why with you, like, and I realized that that's where kind of that time management, time czar, not Cesar. The time czar shit comes because I have anxiety about running out of time. And I think that started when I found out about my father. When I found out my father died, like abruptly in a plane crash, like I think that's when it really kicked in and ramped up, which is ironic because that's around the time I saw Hamilton live. Like, so all these things I was able to reflect on with therapy, but I had to go to therapy to really understand what that was because I was in a bad place. I was freaking out. I was definitely terrible. I didn't want to leave the house. I was like the nigga from Final Destination. I was like, I don't want to leave the house. I might die. I literally was having moments like throughout my day where I was thinking about this could kill me. That could kill me. Like whenever I would get on a plane, like for like 2 years straight after that, I would think about how I might die on this plane. That's why I take edibles now before I go on a flight. Because I'm like, I have that anxiety. It's not as bad as it used to be, but like I used to genuinely, Mike, I would think about, and I already have a lot of thoughts in my head, but like a lot of them would be around, this is how you could die in this situation.
Which is I mean that's really tough, because
it was scary, man.
it sounds debilitating. Like you just can't move. Like
think about COVID when that happened. I freaked the fuck out, dude. I was like, especially with my like conditions, I was like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, but I also think that type of anxiety, I think, is shared by a lot of people, especially during COVID. I think a lot of people are like, hey, what's gonna happen? You don't know what's gonna happen. And for me, it's like I always used to be like, I got that type of anxiety, and I had to deal with that after my friends were killed.
Yeah,
because I was just like, oh, so you could just you could just go anytime, and it's a part of the reason why I was already doing like. I started doing like sketch comedy writing before I did stand up, and it was like, and I knew I was going to get into stand up.
Yeah.
But after they passed, I was like, oh, I really have to kind of do because like you don't know when it's going to go. You know, like you don't know when it's time when it's your time to go. And I mean, I think it's something that to also like another layer, I think is just like being Black in New York and just like in certain places, you kind of grow up with that. Hey, you're gonna be done by the time you're 25. You're gonna make it past 25. But guess what, nigga? We still alive. We don't care what people say. So we still here and we doing our thing. So, you know, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you faced that. And you still got your time stuff, your anxieties, but also through my therapy, I've learned that the projection of your time anxiety, I don't have to absorb it. I could see it, I could acknowledge it, but I don't got to be on time. I can be like, yeah, I'm here at 2:00. We can do it, or be here a little earlier. You know what I mean? To just be ready. So
you do the opposite of early, which happens sometimes.
Yeah, it didn't happen today. See, you want to look at the past, but if you want to look at just 5 minutes in the past, I gave the greatest transitions, even to the transition about your park reading. I'm just cooking. I've been cooking, and you know what? I'm going to continue to cook on this podcast.
That's right.
Because that's what we do here at Comedy Outliers. And if you love it, what you need to do is leave us a 5-star review.
5-star review on your favorite podcast application. We will read it on the show. Thank you so much to the folks that have left recent ones, but we need more. God damn it! We know y'all listening to this again. Tell the people, okay?
Yeah. Matter of fact, did you look at see if we got anything lately?
I did this morning. We haven't. I don't think we got anything.
Damn it, Darren, leave another impression.
He didn't leave another one.
Leave another one. Leave another. Yeah, we need more ratings. We need
more ratings, y'all.
And then reviews.
You know, you can follow Comedy Outliers on all social media platforms. Be on the lookout. Be sure to put that subscribe button because we're going to be announcing some good stuff very, very soon. Yeah. As always, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on all social media platforms. I'm mostly on Instagram these days, so just hit me up there. And then, Mike, how can people follow you, bro?
You can follow me at Yo Mike Brown on everything. I am on all the social media platforms. I'm not that active. I'm just lurking and seeing what's going on. So if you want to hit me up, you can DM me. You can also just go to my website, yomikebrown.com. If you want to book me for your speaking engagements, to be in your whatever it is. If there's a web series, just like have me on there and I'll be Mike Brown and put an E at the end of something. I don't want to fuck up my SAG Connects, but you know what I mean? Just like, let's make it happen.
Mike Brown?
Mike Brown.
Like, that ain't me.
Yeah.
That looks like you, Mike. He's 6'3", black, green eyes. No.
I'm coming in with
that's Michael Ealy Brown.
That's right. That's right. How'd you know?
Yo, I swear to God, when I saw on his Wikipedia page that his real name is Mike Brown, I lost my mind.
I told you about this. You thought it was bullshit.
I forgot, but I saw it recently. I was just like, this nigga. I was like, of course.
It's, man, there's so many. I mean, follow us.
One of the craziest, you'll hear it on Mike's album, y'all, but one of the craziest things he's ever said out loud, which is, he was like, I'm the greatest. I was like, I think I yelled it backstage. I was like,
yeah. I think I yelled back at you. That's right, Brandon.
I think so.
Brandon in the back.
When you said my jaw fell to the floor. I was like, dude.
I mean, look, and that's my first dip in the water. It's just going to get worse than that. It's just going to be crazy than that. Yeah. But even it's like, if that's the worst thing I say, I can go. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Listen, Lil Wayne said it. Nobody believed him for like a few years, and then they started believing him. So, you know, that's my first time saying it, and we're just going to go and do it. But yeah, it's been a fantastic episode. I think we hit it in the time.
Yep, we did.
Also want to shout out LV Pro Film House because we will be back there soon. Just scheduling things, so sometimes we go do it like this. Yeah, so it's like we do them both. It's I don't want people like, oh, y'all audio sound different. What happened? Black businesses don't like y'all no more. Y'all can't work together. What happened? I don't want them to be like, Brandon, you gonna release a statement about LB Pro House now? What are you gonna do? So I'm just letting y'all know up front, it's all good. We'll be back there soon, and it's all love. It's all good.
I just followed the lead of the homie Dan Perlman from Flatbush Misdemeanors. I was like, let me put out a quick statement. Let people know.
You brought Dan into this?
Shout out to Dan Perlman.
God.
He's got a show coming up at Union Hall.
Yeah, we gotta get him on the pod, man. We gotta talk to him on the pod just about that whole thing. And we don't have to talk about like that, but we can talk about the process of it.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, how was it? How was the process from pitch to this to that? Because he also had this just shout out to Dan. He had this cartoon that he had pitched that was supposed to that he wanted like the FX or the Fox animation domination thing called like Where's My Bus, about this black bus driver and in like the inner city, and it looks like the whole thing looks so funny, but it like never came to fruition that I've seen. But shout out to him, that's funny. But yeah, no statements. We good. Comedy Outliers is good. LV Pro Film House, good.
Leave a 5-star review, y'all. Podcast. Let us know you're listening.
Please let us know what you listen. Let us know what you like. And also, what would be like a funny thing is when you do leave a comment, say how it's better than any other podcast that Brandon might be on, that he might be hosting. Because I kind of like this like comment, like this bit about me every episode, just like shouting out Medium Popcorn, but also like hating on it a little bit. I personally love it. I think it's hilarious.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do if you come on Medium Popcorn though?
Same thing. I'll keep the bit going.
You're just gonna be like, I hate shit.
I can actually going. It'll be fun.
Right,
yeah. But you know what it is.
At no time
Peace.
am I playing with y'all.
Now you're pretending it's all over.
Yeah.
No happy
Phone it in, dog.
it's all over.
It's a rap. Yeah, life's a movie. Sometimes it boggles the mind how the plot twist and turn on a dime. These new artists sound like they still learning to rhyme. While this flow gets better with time, you hear me? Clearly, I wanna succeed, but what good is jewels and gold if you gotta sacrifice your soul? Plus, I want all of my creative control. This kind of style don't fit in no mold. Hear me? Dearly, bring on the pressure. Prove wrong anyone who thought lesser. Me at my worst, this the best of. My city don't breed cross-dressers. Don't fit in that lane. Other weirdos and lyrically lame. Speak with authority. Plus, I don't move with the majority. Stay to myself, build wealth and chase health. Dimes on me like I need a payphone. Christian Dior smothered, chilling low key like I'm Thor's brother. Have a seat if you can stand us. Broke niggas don't understand us. So much dough that the wallet won't close up. It was your moment, your team froze up. GDM squad roll up. Your whole clique was like, hold up. Why you talking to us like you know us? Cause I seen your kind before. You the kind that shouldn't rhyme no more. We the kind with the rhymes galore. See, I was kind, that's why I let you shine before. But it's over now, that's why you can't shine no more. You sound forced. And your stylist is too involved. Sugar sweet and water, your whole crew dissolve. Damn, and that's exactly what this flow is. Walk you out the building like that showbiz, soul controller. I don't know who you playing the role of, but when the credits roll, dog, it's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. Been famous.